Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Purana Talk, chapter 166 of the Garuda Purana. In this case, we did not start at the beginning, though we have been moving forward one chapter at a time. So this is Skanda 1, chapter 166. We're still in the depths of early medieval medicine in India. It would hardly be considered the early years of Ayurveda, since Ayurveda was already well established by the time this was written, which was probably, I would guesstimate, 1,200 years ago. How about?
Sure.
It was actually not that clearly defined, and it was probably written over a period of years and then collected together into one volume, of which this is a big section on disease. Do you have something to add?
Oh, just that what we're looking at is a very memorizable prose poetry kind of form. It has a rhythm to it, so you can remember it more easily. But it's not precisely poetic, it's not.
Well,
exactly,
not in the Western sense exactly,
not necessarily
but
rhyming or something.
It has a meter. It
Right.
would have a meter to it. So there's a specific form of, like 8 feet, as we define it in Western poesy. They're not trying to rhyme the ends of the words and make couplets out of it or anything like that.
But they are in shlokas. They're in these
Predictable
paired
lengths,
lines, and they would have a certain rhythm to them.
because they were memorized and repeated
Right.
over
So
years.
that's what's getting written down as these poetic metered things. And so when we're dealing with translation, that's all gone. We don't have that. So there's nothing to keep us on track in the same way, even if we knew the text, which we don't.
It would be really hard to memorize without a rhythm or something that you knew you had to adhere
Right.
to. It's a mnemonic device as much as anything else.
Exactly.
Let's get on with it, because I'm sure we all want to hear what diseases we're dealing with today. Dhanvantari said, "O Sushruta, I shall explain the pathology of vatavyadhi, disease of the nervous system. If we are to speak of disorders, the reason thereof is an obstruction to the natural flow of the wind. The vayu element in the body is actually the Vishvakarma. And Vishvakarma is the architect, universal architect, the architect of the universe. So the Vayu element in the body is actually the Vishvakarma, Vishvatma, the soul of the universe, Vishvarupa, the form of the universe, Prajapati, the lord of created beings, Srashtri, creator, Dhatri, the originator, Vibhu, all-pervading, Vishnu, Samhartri, annihilator, Mrityu, death, Antaka, finisher. Hence, one should endeavor to preserve it in equilibrium." Yeah, it sounds like it.
What do you think the message is there? That you're divine, so you should take care of yourself, or something?
Well, something like that. It's saying specifically with reference to the wind element, the element of wind, vayu, in the body, which would probably include prana, right? The breath of life itself is all of these things to you, and so it's important to keep it in good condition. Now, the vayu, since we're going to be talking about the nervous system, so it isn't just about the air wind passages and things like that. It's seeing it's saying vata. Vata and vayu have something to do with each other, because the vata dosha is all about this, windiness, but it's also about transmission networks and like the nervous system. And it's specifically about transitional points, like the joints in the body, and where change occurs. And so it is about change. Wind is something that is by definition change, or it's not wind, right? If it's not moving, it's not blowing. So anyway, excuse me, a correct knowledge of prakrita and vikrita aspects with the diverse actions of the morbid principles in combination and severally must be had. And it tells us that prakrita is psychological and vikrita is pathological.
Yeah, I want to capture those.
I'm not sure those are the usual interpretations of those words, but prakrita is like from nature, prakriti, but it's P-R-A with a long A, K-R with a dot under it, T-A. It's saying that's psychological. I think it's more like natural and acquired, congenital and acquired, it was referred to before,
Yeah.
but let's not argue with the translator right now. Vikrita, V-A-I-K-R with a dot under it, T-A, Vikrita, pathological. The Vikrita actions are of 5 types. They are being mentioned along with their pathology and characteristic signs. Vayu, this is 6. Vayu is aggravated by the defiling factors of the 7 fundamental elements of the system. Such things shall not be used by the patients too much. The Vayu obstructs the fourfold passages, the ducts or vessels. 7-8. When these vessels are filled with the aggravated doshas, the vitiated Vayu produces acute pain, tympanites, rumbling sound in the intestines, suppression of the stools, loss of voice, impaired sight, grip in the buttocks and the back, and other similar grave disorders. The vatavyadhi originating from the abdomen, remember vatavyadhi was the original first word here, disease of the nervous system is what they're calling it. Mm-hmm. When, the vatavyadhi originating from the abdomen gives rise to vomiting, dyspnea, cough, cholera, itching sensation, and other ailments above the navel, whose main characteristics will be some sort of obstruction. 10. The Vayu located in the ducts produces ill functioning of the sense organs, roughness of the skin, eruptions, acute pain, dyspnea, and symptoms of poisoning and discoloration. The Vayu located inside the entrails produces obstruction to evacuation, non-relish for food, leanness and vertigo, knotty eruptions in the flesh, and fat and roughness of the skin too are caused. And here our translator is dispensed with commas almost entirely, so so you have to sort of put those in mentally.
You have to guess where those
are. 12. The body appears to be heavy and pains as if hit with the fist or a baton. The Vayu located in the bone produces severe pain in the thighs and bones. The Vayu located in the marrow produces loss of firmness in the bones, loss of sleep and severe pain. A rapid emission of the semen and other disorders too are produced. Vayu in the marrow. If the Vayu is located in the semen, now, it's going through the dhatus in roughly in order, when it talks about flesh and fat, then it talks about the bones, then it talks about the marrow, and then it talks about the semen, the next thing is the ojas, you're getting, in a sense, more and more concentrated, refined, elements of the body, it goes from the gross to the more subtle, eventually sort of off the chart, like the colors you can't see at the end of the spectrum. So the Vayu if the Vayu is located in the semen or in the womb in women, involuntary emission of semen or miscarriage is produced. The Vayu located in the head produces scantness of feces. The Vayu located in any place produces intumescence when aggravated, which cannot be cured. If the Vayu is located in the joints, the abdomen to the touch feels like a leather bag full of water, and located atrophy is generated. If it is located in different limbs, a piercing pain, a breaking ache, throbbing, etc. in the limbs are felt. 16. Numbness, compulsive jerky movements, somnolence, breaking and shaking of joints are observed when the excited vayu permeates the nerves. It produces constant convulsive movements in the limbs. The ailment is called akshepana, convulsion.
What verse?
16. Let's start out saying numbness, convulsive jerky movements, somnolence, breaking and shaking of joints. When the excited vayu permeates the nerves, it produces constant convulsive movements of the limb. The ailment is called akshepana. 17. The enraged vayu, when obstructed from below, courses upwards and presses against the heart. It then generates pain in the head and the temples. It may toss up the whole body and bend down his cheekbone. The victim may breathe hard, closing both the eyes. 1920. He may coo like a dove without any attachment to anything, unconscious. This ailment is called apatantrika, which
That
is not
could be epilepsy, I suppose.
Yeah. When the enraged vayu, and this has nothing to do with tantrika, this is apatantraka. When the enraged vayu moves on to the heart and the left nostril, he may feel some slight relief, and there may be relapse immediately. This and similar ailment caused by a violent flow cannot be cured easily. 21. When the body is severed by the wind and patient perspires and his body becomes rigid, when the body is stretched again, the wind pervades the whole body. 22-23. The vayu lodged inside the vital constituents of the body produces the obstruction to the locomotion of the eyes, yawning, loss of energy, and pain in the teeth, excruciating pain in the sides, grips in the cheek, back, and the head, external curvation of the body at the back, and a sense of heaviness in the heart and the head. I thought of tetanus.
Yeah, or meningitis, things like that too.
24. The chest is thrown up or the shoulders droop down. There is discoloration in the teeth and face. There is no perspiration in the limbs. The external curvature and rigidity of the cheekbone indicates that the man is a victim of vatavyadhi. And I wonder about stroke with that. It's talking about the shape of the cheek, cheekbone. That's what's in there. The morbid principles after permeating the feces, urine, and blood and being incited by the vayu bend the whole body from head to foot. The victim standing with the pale body finds the wound and curvature increased. 27-28. In its impetuosity, the patient does not get any relief due to the ailment of akshepana, the convulsion. Scraping the tongue, intake of hot food, opening the mouth beyond measure enrages the vayu located at the root of the cheekbone, which makes the mandible rigid, thus causing the mouth to be permanently gaping or firmly closed. Lockjaw. That's why I was thinking tetanus earlier, too. It's 29. The above ailment is called hanustamba, which is rigidity of the mandible. Due to this, remember, stamba is stopping. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the magical occult properties. Is stambana is the ability to make things stop, freeze, yes, turn them into a column. Due to this, the victim will find it very difficult to chaw or speak. It's a typo. Tobacco, beside the point. You might have a chaw of tobacco, but let's say chew. The nerve carrying the faculty or force of speech becomes rigid and vayu benumbs the tongue. This is called jiva stamba, so rigidity of the tongue, the jiva. It's not jiva like spirit or life, but Jihva. Jiva means the tongue. Jiva. Due to this, the patient becomes incompetent to eat, drink, or speak. Carrying heavy loads on the head, boisterous laughter, and loud talks, resting the head on uneven or rough pillows, and chewing hard foodstuffs aggravates the vayu lodged in the upper regions of the body. So avoid carrying heavy loads on the head, boisterous laughter, loud talk, resting the head on uneven pillows, or chewing hard foodstuff. All that aggravates vayu in the upper part of the body. Okay. Interesting advice. Loud laughter and sudden glancing to the sides makes the face permanently distorted. Distorted? Stop making that face, it'll stick like that? Yes, okay. The ancients agree. Your mother was right. Then the power of speech becomes lower and the eyes become numbed and motionless, gnashing of the teeth, aphonia, impaired hearing, blurring of vision, loss of the power of smell, loss of memory, fright, dyspia, nishtiva, which it tells us is the same as ptyalism, the Latinate ptyalism, frequent spitting, we're told. Pricking pain in the sides, permanent closure of an eye, severe pain above the clavicle, and hemiplegia are the disorders in the wake of vatavyadhi. This ailment is called ardita, facial paralysis.
Okay, what verse?
35. Why isn't it just mukstambana or something like that? We had the other two stambanas. We had mandible and tongue stambana, but this is ardita, facial paralysis.
This is the whole face instead of just part of it, maybe.
Well, it's not necessarily, because it just described it where it could be part of it, and tells us then that this is called that. So,
okay.
This is like permanent closure of an eye, not both eyes,
Right.
for example, but inability to move it.
Yeah. And that can happen for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah. So this ailment, there's this Bell's palsy. This ailment is called ardita by some and ekanga, hemiplegia by others. The blood flowing in the vessels, especially those that traverse the head, are affected. 36-37, the nerves become rough and black and produce severe pain and a sort of hemicrania which is incurable. The vayu affects a part of the body with all the nerves there. It is called pakshagata, partial paralysis. One half of the entire body becomes inoperative and insensible. Some call this ekangoroga by the name kaksharuk. Some people call this ekangoroga by the name kaksharuk. And ekangoroga literally would mean like one part of the body disease, right? Eka anga roga, one limb or body part disease, and by the name kaksharuka. It says one half of the entire body becomes inoperative and insensible, and that's what that would be called.
Right.
If the vayu affects the entire body, there is obstruction and rigidity in all the limbs. The paksha ailment caused by deranged vayu alone is curable, though difficult. In conjunction with other morbid principles, it is incurable, as it is aggravated and hence causes debility. The vayu in combination with kapha, with its path obstructed by mucus secretions, rigidifies the limbs, causing the ailment danda patanika, which is incurable. Danda patanika. Danda is a staff. 41. The vayu located in the root of the shoulder blades contracts all the veins in the locality and prevents the circulation of blood there. The ailment of avabahuka is caused. 42. The vayu located in the fingers and palms, affecting the sinews in the back arm, renders the arms inoperative. This ailment is called vishvachi. When the vayu located in the hips draws up the sinews in the thighs, the victim becomes lame due to the paralysis of both the thighs. The ailment is called kanjavata. Kanja. No, kanjavata. I was right the first time. 44. The victim begins to totter when he starts walking and goes like a lame man. The joints seem to be very loose. The ailment is called kalaya kanja. 45. On. When one takes too hot or too cold, watery or dry, heavy and emulsive foods injudiciously, when one indulges in extremely fatiguing physical labor immediately after the meal or after digestion, or keeps awake till very late in the night, the fat with deranged kapha gets accumulated and attacks the other principles too. The kapha gets stuffed about the thigh bones and numbs the locality. The bones in the thighs become loose. The complexion assumes a dull tawny color. Fever, somnolence, non-relish for food, and lassitude are the disorders that arise. This is called urustamba, which some call bahya vata. 49. A swelling in the middle of the knee caused by vayu in combination with contaminated blood is called kroshtukashirsha. Shirsha head, since it is like the head of a jackal. Kroshtukashirsha. It is big and produces acute pain. 50. The vayu located in the heels causes an ailment called vata kantaka. After exhaustion, when one takes a false step, severe pain is felt in that locality. Vayu located in the heels, toes, umbilicus, and throat violently tosses the locality and grips at them. This ailment is called gridrasi, sciatica.
What verse?
51. Vayu located in the heels, toes, umbilicus, and throat violently tosses the locality and grips at them. This ailment is called gridrasi. Well, it doesn't really describe the location of the sciatic nerve, where it seems to be, it doesn't talk about the hip specifically in this area, and, down the leg so much as heels and toes, umbilicus. One might, but the throat.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed to be telling maybe something like sciatica earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway.
52, 53. When the foot becomes insensible and horripilation is present, the ailment is called padaharsha.
St. Vitus dance or something like that.
Well, or just, tingling nerve stuff in the feet. I mean, I'm reminded of my own.
Diabetic nerve pain.
No, I don't have diabetic nerve pain.
No, but it's an example of this.
I was saying something else. When the foot becomes insensible and horripilation is present, the ailment is called padaharsha. It is caused by the deranged vayu and kapha. Vayu in combination with pitta and contaminated blood causes burning sensation, especially when one walks. It is called padadaha. That's it.
Okay, well, that's very interesting.
Always is.
So, going back to the beginning, it made this division between physically caused and emotionally caused, or something like that.
And it didn't really go into it much after that, did it?
No, it didn't. It didn't try to split the hair and say, all right, this is caused by physical and this is emotional or psychological, but it recognizes that there are two main causes of nervous system disorders, or something like that. That internal emotional function or dysfunction can cause it, as well as physical causes. We haven't run into that before. That's new.
Good point. Whether or not it's right, I don't know, but it's a good point. I haven't seen psychological referred to, but we have seen congenital and acquired.
Right.
it's
And it
just
may mean
it's
something more like that.
well, and it's prakrita, so from nature in a sense is what's being implied. The fact that the translator has decided to put psychological in parentheses may be more
Right.
his interpretation than what was the original intent.
Right.
It doesn't seem necessarily to be in the meaning of the word in Sanskrit.
So it may
to
be
me.
his distinctions,
Yeah.
not theirs.
You always have to be on the lookout for things
Pathological, that word.
and Vikrita again. I'd have to look up Vikrita because I can't remember, but it is it's a duality with Prakrita, one of nature and one is acquired. I think. So go ahead, research Prakrita and Vikrita. That's your homework for next time, and we'll see what you come up with.
Bye.